YouTube. Your girl is back. Your girl is back with another video. And I know, and where I am, I always say this, I come to y'all a little late after I have did my daily duties. So sorry to come to you all so late. Where I am, it's about 9:20. So it's not that late, but I know everyone's probably getting ready to settle down. So of course, if you don't catch my live tonight, you'll be more than welcome to catch the replay, honey. I love the people who watch the replays as well. If you have not already done so, please stop what you're doing and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel right now. If you are not subscribed, what are you doing? And go ahead and turn your notifications on as well. And let's just go ahead and get into some things. Let's get into some things, honey. Good news as well. I have learned how to make moderators. So I will have some moderators on my channel as well now. I just went by the people who asked to be a moderator back when I did the live about Keisha. So shout out to all the new moderators. I'm pretty sure YouTube sent you all a notification. Honey, I said I'm a dinosaur over here, child. I finally learned how to work technology a little bit. I just ordered me a webcam. So I'm getting to some things. I'm about to try to spruce it up a little bit for y'all. But let's get into it, honey. Let's get into it. Let's get to it. So this week, what I've noticed that has been coming up on my timeline is, the breakdown of my jazzy life. So if everyone does not know, I think I spoke about, hey, CC's live. Hey girl, how you doing? How you doing? But yes, I spoke about Jazzy Life briefly before with her, falling out with Strong Mommy Chrissy. Hi, Gaia Niece number two. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, let's see if somebody else gonna roll in before I get too deep into it, honey. Good morning, Gabrielle. Well, I'm talking about good morning. Oh my God, y'all. That's how y'all know it's been a long day. Good night, honey. It's a good night, child. Yes, 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 yes. I hope everyone has had a wonderful day. Like I said, I always come kind of late at night because throughout my day is busy. I get my child back and forth to school. I'm running errands. I got my hair done today, so I'm just like, let me come talk to my people while I settle down. But let's get into it. I'm gonna try not to hold y'all too long. So yes, so if you all don't remember, I spoke about my jazzy life briefly. When it came to, yay, shout out to Gabrielle, honey. Yes, ma'am. Gabrielle is a moderator. Yes, no problem. I definitely, appreciate any help that I can get. Like I said, I'm new on these YouTube streets, so all the help that I can get is definitely welcome. So you're welcome. But yes, so I spoke about my jazzy life when it came to her and Strong Woman Chrissy and their falling out. A little bit of background about my jazzy life. She's a mommy. She's a mommy content creator. She's in the mommy sector of YouTube. She's one of the young ladies who show their daily life, just going through the trials and tribulations of being a single mom, to being in a relationship, to now being pregnant. And so she's had her ups and downs on YouTube. She's had her fair share of makeups and breakups. And so, she's someone that is a popular topic within the reaction sector of YouTube, I would say. Like I said, she was in the crew with Strong Mommy Chrissy and Liv's Life and Ming. They all were kicking it pretty tight at one point in time. But then you all know, honey, that fell out and that went astray. So since the falling out and since all the dust has settled, Jazzy has, like I said, now I think if I'm not mistaken, she's about, 8 or 9. I think she's almost ready to pop. She's pregnant. And she has since got into a new relationship. She has a relationship with a guy named Chris. And so for the last few months or for this past year, she's pretty much just showed us her new relationship, the new family dynamic that she has created. And, she's continued to show everyone, her daily routine with her children. Now, she gets a lot of backlash because, of course, with the mommy sector of YouTube, we see them, have the trials and tribulations as they're trying to raise their children. And you know how people get when it comes to people having a hard time and raising kids at the same time. So, of course, she gets a little backlash because, She's had, some trials and tribulations with getting her kids settled, her kids being unruly, things of that nature. And y'all know I don't like to touch on stuff like that. So while I watch some of the mommy content, I don't get too heavily invested because I'm just not with picking apart somebody's parenting. However, I will say one thing I do like about the mommy segment of YouTube is a lot of people who do reactions on them, they don't come from a malicious place. So the people who react on the mommy content, they pretty much watch them raise their children, make their mistakes. But what I will say is, I hear a lot of people give these moms some sound advice without being too nasty. Now, some people do take it there and they are very harsh on, Jazzy and the other content creators who do mommy content. But for the most part, the mommy content side of YouTube is very interesting because, it keeps a conversation going on a daily basis about just being a young mom, parenting, and how you should and shouldn't get through life with whatever trials and tribulation parenthood throws at you, pretty much. Guyanese said, I feel so bad for her. For me, I feel like she's trying to do better. Yeah, and I'm gonna get into that because it was really sad to watch. So pretty much, she went from being single. She had, I don't know if she was married to her baby daddy, or I don't know if they were just boyfriend and girlfriend, but she had a relationship when she first came to YouTube. She came on YouTube with her baby daddy, and they had a whole family channel thing going. He ended up going to prison, and we saw her pretty much have to figure it out on her own. She had some financial troubles, and she had to get help from her subscribers here and there. But I will say, in most recent times, she has secured a bigger home for her children with a backyard, and it looks like she's trying to move in the right direction. However, I will say a lot of people compare her to Strong Mommy Chrissy because they both used to hang together. And I guess people who view her and watch her, they feel as if she's not progressing enough. They feel as if she's not organized enough. They feel as if she just has not found her way, kind of like Strong Mommy Chrissy has. And so I'm gonna get into my thoughts on that because it gets kind of touchy with the conversation with her being emotional the other day. But like I said, she just got into a relationship in this last year or so with a guy named Chris. And everyone pretty much got bad vibes from him. Everyone pretty much felt like he was a clout chaser, he was a user. He had some drama, with his other baby mamas kind of alluding to the fact that he was a deadbeat. And him and Jazzy kind of moved kind of fast in front of the screen. And so that put a bad taste in a lot of people who viewed her, that put a bad taste in their mouth because, we already see her kind of struggling to, raise the children that she has. 'Cause I think she has 4 children. um we kind of see her struggling to raise the 4 children that she has, and it looks like she's moving in the right direction, and then boom, here comes this guy nieces, everyone moves at their own pace, right. And so yeah, definitely. But yeah, so a lot of people just felt like the relationship that she is in now, the guy is just not into her, he's not interested. She got pregnant by him so fast, and they pretty much are just, really on her about this new relationship and her new baby, because they feel as if, she is coming onto her platform and, asking her subscribers to help with her children, but she has a man there. They also criticized her because more recently, she had a birthday party for one of her children. And like I said, she has 4 children. And in the past, there had been some misfortunate financial shortcomings when the other children's birthday was around. She wasn't able to do much for them. But when this particular child's birthday came around, it was a whole extravaganza. And so people really gave her a hard time about it. And I'm going to just give my perspective and give my thoughts. And I just pretty much, the purpose of my conversation and talking about her today is not to get into the details of her parenting. Because, like I said, you know, I don't really pick apart anybody's parenting. And I'll get more into detail about why I don't. But it's just to see, how can we learn to give advice to people in love? Now, like I said, I have seen some people give her some sound advice, and it has been from a very loving place. Like I said, my girl Tia Mar, she gave her some really good advice, and some of her advice to Jazzy, comes from a good place. Because one thing that she did say that stood out to me is that Um, hey Jen. Jen says, hey Nia in chat. Hey. Thank you for that, Gabrielle. Thank you. Yes, honey. Please go ahead and hit a like for your girl, honey. Like the I'm sounding like Chrissy now, honey. But yes, like the I love when she say that. But yeah, like the live, honey. Like it. But yes. But like I said, here's my perspective on the breakdown. It was sad to watch. I know a lot of people, and maybe I don't watch Jazzy enough to know if this is, something that is, genuine or not. But from the little bit I have watched of her, I will say she is a mom that is trying. Now, has she made all of the best decisions as a parent from, some of the things that I've seen from watching her myself or from the reaction videos? It doesn't seem like she's always made the most sound decisions. But one thing that we have to put into perspective here is, she is definitely trying. I definitely will give that to her. Anyone who is putting a roof over their children's head, I mean, she be on there packing lunches. She be on there, showing us, taking them to places. Now, like I said, people have criticized her because they feel like she doesn't do enough. But I've seen her try to do something. And so, like I said, I'm not going to get into details on what type of parent she is because I just don't do that. But I feel like sometimes the backlash that she gets is kind of harsh. And that's just my perspective. I do understand, however, how her supporters or her viewers could have some type of constructive criticism for her with the whole asking for help and all of that when she has a man in the household. I do feel where they're coming from on that end. However, it's like, when do we learn how to give people advice in love? Let's read some comments. Guy Nee says, yeah, some people do, but the others make it sound like bullying. Yeah, some of it sounds like bullying. Cece Life said, I was a single mom before, and yes, it was a little hard, but with the help of my family, it got easier. All the nasty things they said about her is really sad. Yeah, because it's kind of like this. I understand why people would give her some feedback on, kind of asking for help or alluding that she's struggling when she has a man in the household. Because, even off camera, in Black families or in pretty much, I'm just speaking from the African American perspective, once you get a man, that's it. Don't call mama asking for nothing. So I can understand why people would have something to say about that. However, what I don't understand is why people are alluding that she's a bad parent just because of this whole birthday party situation. And they, like I said, it goes a little bit deeper, for I guess her viewers. I guess they feel like, she shows favoritism or something of that nature. But do we really know the dynamics of someone's life day in and day out? Do we really know what someone is capable for doing all the time for multiple children? Because we have to think this girl does have 4 children. And then Guyanese says, but she's not asking for help. The supporters asked her the sense of the supporters told her, oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. Like I said, I don't watch her a lot, Guyanese, so I don't watch her faithfully. But they were making it seem as if she was kind of like dry begging or something. Because honestly, I don't see anything wrong with her making a registry. Because I mean, people have baby showers all the time. Like when you get pregnant, you have a baby shower and you have a baby daddy, but you still get gifts from other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I had a large platform of people who support me and who love me, I would probably make a registry as well. Now what I put on the registry, I would probably be mindful of because people are very judgmental, and I wouldn't want to come across as, I wouldn't want to come across as if I, am in dire need. If you all don't buy it, it's gonna be the end of my world. Like I wouldn't do it in that way. So I would be mindful about what I put on the registry. I would probably leave some of the big ticket items off of there, like the crib and things of that nature, but for the most part I don't see anything wrong with her having a registry. Guy Nee says the hater say she is dry begging. Yeah, and I hear that all the time. Like I said, and maybe I need to watch more of her, I will be very honest. Like I said, I don't like to get too deep into the mommy content because, this is how I feel. And here's my perspective on being a parent. I am the only child on my mom's side. And so I have experienced the best and, the not so good parts of, someone trying their best to be a parent. There were times where I went to private school. I mean, I was spoiled. I had every shoe, every purse, every Barbie doll that you can think of. And then there were also times where, the struggle was real and there was not any Christmas gifts and things of that nature. So, I can definitely understand, both perspectives of parenting. I can understand, the people who feel like you better not make, you got to do whatever you got to do for your kids. You better sit down until you figure it out. And then I can understand the perspective of the people who, have a lot going on in their personal life. And so that gets overwhelming when it comes to being a parent. But one thing about it, this parenting thing don't come with no handbook. Okay. It doesn't come with the handbook. And so, like I said, I do feel like the mommy sector of YouTube, I do feel like they put out the family content and is able to sometimes, in some cases, create a good conversation about some parenting practices that could be helpful. But you have to really be careful when you go to talking about people's parenting on the internet because we don't know what goes on behind the doors of people's homes. And I would just hate to be under a microscope for everything I do for my children because that's a tough place to be. Like I said, my mom had me when she was 17. And so, that left me in the primary care of my grandmama and my grandmom and my great grandma most of the time. And some people would look at that and turn their nose up and look at my mom some type of way. But, there were a lot of times where she came through and she gave me a lifestyle better than most kids in my neighborhood. I was able to, go to hold on one second, y'all. See, I just had to yell at my child right then. I'm sorry. But, I was able to, have, the luxuries and I was able to see some struggles. So, I don't get too deep into what people should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing as parents because I understand, that it gets rocky sometimes. And based on what you're going through in your personal life, that will affect, how much effort you're able to put into certain things like birthday parties and things of that nature. So, like I said, when it comes to the mommy content, I watch it, but I don't like, I don't study it and I don't get too invested in it because I don't want to be one of those people that, start to kind of feel a type of way about someone and what they're doing in their household with their children. Because I will say, for the most part, out of all the mommies, Strong Mommy Chrissy, Lives Life, Reality of Me, My Jazzy Life, those are the main ones that I've watched before. All of them have had their share of struggles. All of them have had their share of losses. All of them have had wins. So, it's kind of tough to sit there and kind of pick apart what they do. Like I said, I have people who I watch like Miss Tia Mar. She does really fair content on Jazzy. I have heard her give some sound advice that isn't disrespectful. One thing I like that she said is that, she's not gonna call Jazzy a bad mom. She's just gonna say that, Jazzy hasn't made the best decisions. But then there are some people who do content on Jazzy, and it's like, when we get to kind of, talking about the way she looks and when we get to kind of talking about what she may smell like and all of that type of stuff is like, come on guys. And I hate to be that person to try to, what I'm saying, because people can do what they want to do, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a free world, there's freedom of speech, but it is hurtful. People have to understand we're human at the end of the day. And fortunately, these women are able to put their life and their motherhood under a microscope, and they're able to be strong enough to allow people into their homes every day to get a glimpse of what goes on. And that's a tough place to be, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I do plan to sometimes do a little bit of personal content here and there. But I ain't let nobody follow me in my life and what goes on with my parenting and all that. I don't think I can handle that and do that every single day. I couldn't be like a daily vlogger. I couldn't do it personally because the minute somebody get to telling me what I should and shouldn't be doing with a child that I be around here going broke for, making sure she happy and fed and all that, I'm gonna have some words to say. So I personally commend people who are able to put their entire daily routines on the camera. Cause baby, in real life, every day is not perfect. Every day is not, let's wake up and make a sack lunch. And no, some days you're going to eat that school lunch. Okay. That's just the type of parent I am. I'm gonna make sure your hair combed. I'm gonna make sure your breath smell good. Make sure you got your lotions on in the morning time. Make sure you got your little clean little shoes and hair bows and earrings. But are we gonna, have, um vegetables and carrots and rice and peanuts in your lunchbox every day? No, some days that lunchable gonna be all you got, or eat your lunchable and the school lunch. That's the type of mom I am. I have my days where I'm very extra and I'm doing the most, and I have my days where I'm like, girl, it's just one of those days, honey. We gonna make it do what it do. So it's a lot. Guys, say it's a lot. It is a lot, and it's hard to watch because, like I said, I can understand because even when I was watching Strong Mommy Chrissy back when she first came out, and she had the let's see what Miss Gabrielle says Jasmine on YouTube for quite some time, so I think some of her subbies generally want to send her some stuff for a newborn baby or her kids. I see no problem with the registry when it comes. Yeah, I don't see a problem with the registry. I don't. I heard people kind of criticizing some of what she had on there. So my advice to her would probably be, leave some of those big ticket items off. But if people, like you said, people have been really, riding with her for years and watching her, I'm pretty sure they want to send her some love. That's not out of the norm. Just like your family and friends. Everyone has a baby shower. She just doing it virtually. So I don't see the harm in that. um you know I just don't see it. And it's kind of confusing because it's so many people who are very angry and upset with her about this whole birthday party situation. But I feel like this. She has 4 children. And I understand, there are some people who come from homes where they had siblings and, there was different treatment and they, and I guess her throwing one child that extravagant birthday party and not doing it for the others kind of triggered, some people to feel a type of way because they maybe felt like there was some favoritism going on. But, I just feel like, we can't really accuse her of that because she does have multiple children. And I'm pretty sure she can definitely sustain with her YouTube salary. But to think that every single child is going to have a lavish birthday party every year, that's a lot. That is a lot. Now, I don't know what she did for the other children's birthday. Like I said, I don't watch her all the time. But as long as there is some type of acknowledgement of a birthday for each one of your children, as long as they are, treated special on that day, and they're pampered in some type of way. If one year only 2 of the kids get an extravagant birthday party and the other 2 don't, and you flip flop it, I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that because I'm sorry, that's why I chose to not have that many children. Right now, I only have one child, and because I couldn't imagine having 4, 5 children and having to figure out a birthday party for all 5 of them. I just would probably be somewhere in the corner crying. Okay. And it doesn't take much. I will say, it doesn't take much. I think another thing is, as moms as well, we have to remember to not get caught up in what social media says we should be doing for our children. Because sometimes, you'll find yourself beating yourself up about things that, just don't matter in real life, because really it's the memories that are the most important. So if you don't go out and if you don't buy a bouncy house every year, I wouldn't feel bad, as long as you are able to make your children feel special, whether that be a bouncy house party or whether it be y'all sat at the kitchen table and y'all ate cake and danced in the living room. I feel like, it doesn't matter. It's the memories and the love that overcomes it all. That's the most important part. So I think sometimes we get too wrapped up in the wrong thing anyway, because honestly, I, went to school with people from all different walks of life. And some people, based on what their parents' religion was and things of that nature, they didn't even celebrate birthdays. They didn't even celebrate Christmas and things of that nature. So there are some kids out here who don't even know what a birthday celebration is or what a Christmas gift is. So we have to keep that in mind too. So for the people who are ready to call her a bad parent over a birthday party, I'm like, I wouldn't take it that far. I just wouldn't take it that far. Now, if some of her loyal subscribers want to give her advice on some ideas that she can do for all of her children, and so that way it doesn't feel like one child is getting left out. Okay, if you're coming from a genuine place, I don't see anything wrong with that. But to just straight call her a bad parent and all of that over, what she chose to do for one child or the other, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot to process. And then what stood out to me as well in her video, she was just crying. Oh, I didn't really get into what happened in the video. In the video, she was, just crying and she was upset because she said that, a lot of people are just, criticizing her for asking for help when she has a man in the household. Um, Gabrielle says, I have one and I go crazy at times. So just imagine having 4 young kids. I pray for her mental, because being a mother takes a lot of patience and a lot of work, a lot. Girl, Gabrielle, I got one too, honey. I feel you. I have one little girl. And when I tell you it's a lot. It is a lot. And little girls are kind of easy, but it's still a lot, just making sure they're happy and making sure that you've done enough for them, and still being young and trying to figure out your life. And it gets overwhelming sometimes, just in general, even if you're someone who's pretty well off. Like, I have a really decent career and I'm able to financially provide everything my child needs. So it's never on my end, it's never we're never lacking in the financial area. However, just things like, childcare, wanting to get her enrolled into like ballet or things of the nature, but it's only one of me and I don't have many people that'll be able to pick her up and take her to the practices. That type of stuff, kind of gets to me sometimes. So it's kind of like being a parent isn't easy. I want my baby to be, on the little gymnastic teams, but I'm thinking I'm a single mom and I have to work. And so when I start back having to go into the office physically, how is she going to get back and forth? Things like that. So being a parent isn't easy. And so I think that we should just take it easy on people, because, I feel like this: as long as I don't see you mentally, verbally, or physically abusing your kids, as long as I see you providing for your children and providing some type of loving environment for them, everything else can be figured out. As long as you ain't on here talking to them crazy, neglecting them, not feeding them, you know what I'm saying? As long as you're trying to provide a loving household for them, everything else can be figured out. If you don't keep house the best way, we can figure that out. If you don't organize your day the best way for your children, we can figure that out. We can figure all the other things out, but we don't have to be so hard on people who may not have it all the way together, but they have kids. Um, but yeah, on her live, she was crying because Jen said so true. Yeah, very true. Gabrielle said exactly. But she was crying about them criticizing her for asking for help when she has a man. And she was also crying because she was saying that, someone wrote her and they were like criticizing her because her kids didn't have a play yard. They didn't have play equipment. And on that one, I'm gonna have to say, Jazzy, some of this stuff you gonna have to just, ignore or tell them people to get or block them or something, because I wouldn't let nobody make me feel bad about not having no play equipment. Have y'all not seen the price of play equipment? Yeah. first of all, we're in a pandemic, so we have to remember that a lot of this stuff, they used to have things where people can come out and put it up. Well, I mean, she do got a man, so she'll have somebody to assemble it. So I can't use that excuse for her. But what I will say is that ain't the first thing on a lot of people's mind. The first thing on a lot of people's mind when they move somewhere is not, let me get a play yard. That's the last on my list of things to do when I first move somewhere. So, I feel like, and I know she's pregnant, so she just may be emotional. But that one, I would not have paid that any mind. I would not have paid that any mind. So, that type of situation. She said that she was actually considering looking up the prices and getting some equipment. And I'm like, girl, is you crazy? Girl, I would never, ever let a stranger tell me what I should or shouldn't put in my backyard when that stranger ain't finna pay damn bill in that house. So, while I do feel for her, and while I feel that, she definitely, people can definitely afford to take it easy on her. I will say that, Jazzy, you've been on YouTube for a very long time. And so, at this point, you're going to have to, don't feel inclined to please um the audience, all the time. You know what you can afford to do. You know what's best for you and your children. You know what bills have to be paid. And so you don't feel obligated to give a constant explanation of what you can and can't afford, or what bills have to be paid, because honestly, that's nobody's business. uh God needs to say a lot for the people in the back. Yeah, that would be my advice to her. My advice in love. Do keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what's best for you. The reason why people are able to attack people on social media is they always go for the people who they feel are the weakest link, or the people who they feel are going to feed into it. Don't feed into it. I don't want, I would tell everybody, look, I love you all. Thank you all for subscribing to me, but I don't need any suggestions on what I should or shouldn't be buying up in here for these children. You know, because when it comes to what I come out of my pocket for, yeah, I don't need nobody to tell me what I need to go in the store and buy. Now, if you want to, if anybody wanted to, I mean, because some people do get donations from their subscribers, or they have things. If anybody wanted to, make a contribution to that, whatever, I'm pretty sure she would welcome it. But and that's not anyone's obligation. I'm just saying. But yeah, somebody's telling her that a child must have a play yard. Where they do that at? Because honey, I haven't had not now. I'm gonna say like we said in the country. I haven't had not one play yard, honey. I haven't even had a backyard a lot of times growing up, because like I said, I lived primarily with my grandmother and great grandmother, and they lived in an apartment. So yeah, that's definitely not a necessity for a child. Guyanese said, I tell her that all the time, but she is human. I know it gets to her. Yeah, it gets to her. And like I said, I can understand, why, because she does mommy content. And so a lot of people who do mommy content, they do get a lot of feedback about what they could and could be doing with their children. And some of the comments or some of the feedback I see does come from a positive place. But I think that people really have to understand that you have to tread lightly when you're speaking on someone else's parenting, because we never know what is going on in someone's household. And so me personally, I just would never be that invested to try to call somebody out for what they did or didn't do for their children, because at the end of the day, we're not going to be on the emergency list of people to call if anything happens, and somebody has to get that person's children. So I'm not saying you can't give solid advice, especially if someone's doing that type of content, but it's a thin line between giving advice that can be very helpful and just being straight up hateful and mean. And that's where I draw the line when it comes to what I view. I can watch people who give solid sound advice in their reactions, but when you just being hateful and you're calling the lady names and talking about her appearance, and that's where it's kind of like, all right, come on, y'all. Now if y'all think that that's okay, or if you think that her feelings shouldn't be hurt, you think, come on, that's a bit much. Because if it's excessive, if somebody talk about your appearance every blue moon, okay, but if you're 8, imagine yourself 7, 8 months pregnant. Your job is pretty much to get on here and provide content. You're exhausted. You're almost to the point where you're about to give labor, and then you see hundreds of people going in on your appearance, talking about what you may smell like, all of that. You mean to tell me that it wouldn't get to you just a little bit? It wouldn't make you feel some type of way? Come on now. Garden says now they have some perfect people that never make mistakes on YouTube. That's really what social media is becoming. It's becoming a land full of people who act as if they have never done anything wrong. Anything. Like I was in just weeks ago, when we well a couple back last week, when we talked about the whole Keisha situation, and I was just saying, me personally, I don't think she's a bad mom. I don't think that she's just a terrible person. Honey, I had somebody tell me that I mustn't. They said, honey, I mustn't go to a accredited HBCU. They said, honey, you must went to a low level college if you feel that way. And I'm like, I mean, this is just my opinion. I don't see anything wrong with the way she parents. That means I'm dumb. So yeah, people are just mean, and like I said, I get why the mommy content would spark conversation, but I don't understand why it has to be an attack. That's all I'm saying. Like, you can say, hey Jazzy, try to do this with your children. Try to do this, try these activities with your children. But, to say she's a bad mom, she don't deserve to have kids, all because of her mismanagement of her party planning skills. Yeah, no. you know. Guy Nee says, I was in the chat, I heard it crack. Yeah, I'm like, these people be going in. And I like I said, I'm not the commentary police. So, I understand that certain things spark conversations, but we have to remember, look at Strong Mommy Chrissy. Gabrielle says, since I became a mother, my mind has changed a lot about nearly everything surrounding motherhood. Jazz made some mistakes, but she's a trying mother. She's doing the best she can. And yeah, she literally is doing the best she can, and it shows, because I'm going to tell you, I see a huge difference in her now than when she was in that apartment. I see a really huge difference. Honey, she was packing some lunch for them kids the other day on one of her I think it was on the vlog when she was crying. And honey, I said, honey, she packing a hell of a school lunch, baby. She got them she got them a 5-course meal up in there. Her house was clean. I mean, she's doing much better, you know. She keeps everything nice and neat now. So I really see a difference. I think that, like I said, look at Strong Mommy Chrissy. I know people compare them a lot, I'm personally not trying to compare them. But what I'm saying is, if we look at Strong Mommy Chrissy, at one point in time, she was a hot mess, right? She, was evicted with 9 children, all of that. And look at how beautiful her story turned out. Now she is, managing her living situation a little bit better. Now looks like she has full control over her household and her finances. She has a fiance, and we saw her broken at one point. Her husband had left her. She was having to move with all those kids. She was distraught. She was torn down, and we saw her blossom into a different person. And so the same, and now people are literally rooting for her. And I just feel like people, the same way that Chrissy turned her life around, Jazzy has the ability to do the same thing. Everyone just moves at a different pace. Gabrielle says, right now she's trying. I think she's trying, because I swear it's a total difference. Guyanese says, yes, it shows. Yes, a huge difference. And she's always spending one-on-one time with them too. Yeah, like it's a totally different vibe now. Like I said, I really see a difference in her content from back then. Now I'm, as far as her relationship, and how she got pregnant by the man or whatever, that was a little questionable. But like I said, that's separate from someone's parenting. If we want to talk about if the people who are subscribed to her and who support her, if they want to kind of talk about the relationship and the dynamic between her and her child's father and how he doesn't seem that interested, and if they want to kind of have a conversation about that, then that's something that comes with the territory of doing YouTube and having those that family content. And of course, people giving you advice on your parenting comes along with the territory, right? But we don't have to always go to the bad mom card about everything. Like, it's like nowadays, honey, if somebody child got one hair bone missing, YouTube finna call them a bad parent. And it's like, oh my gosh, like like literally, like, you guys, if you put a camera and went through my childhood, honey, you all would have had a field day. Or my mama. And my mama was just did the best that she could, like I said. So I get it. That's why I'm able to see it from both angles, because of the way that I was raised. I came from a trying mother. I came from a mother who had me when she was 17, and she did not make the best decisions all the time. Sometimes she, definitely could have done things differently to provide a better way for me, but sometimes she went above and beyond. It's, it's just life. It's life. It's we don't have um there's no rule book to this. There is no rule book to it. And so my advice and love to Jazzy would be to, in on this journey of vlogging your daily life and showing, what you're doing with your children. My advice would just be to keep going. Keep going, and just learn how to progress without dwelling on the naysayers. And I know it may be hard. I know it may be hard, especially when you have people who are continuously tearing you down, but you don't have to jump when your subscribers say jump when it comes to your children. You know what's best for your children. With the whole birthday party situation, how I would do it is, if I had that many children with birthdays, with the whole birthday party thing, I would, try to make sure that I have that strategically planned out, so that way none of my children feel left out. So, if it was a situation where, because like I said, I don't know exactly what happened with her other kid's birthday, but if it was a situation where, Jazzy, you weren't able to do as much for whoever's birthday, I would say that, just maybe have it strategically planned out to where everyone is going to have something going on their birthday. Like I said, I don't know if that was the scenario or not. Um but I would, with that many children, just be strategic about what you're going to do, so that way every child feels like they got something, because children do feel jealous sometimes and left out when one sibling gets something the other doesn't. So you do have to be careful with how you choose to celebrate one child versus the other. However, I think what the public has to realize is, there is no rule book in this thing. It's really not. Um, it's not. And so we have to kind of understand that we're all women, and yes, people put their lives out here, and so that does spark conversation. And I don't, like I said, certain conversations, it is what it is. It's, people put it out there, we're going to talk about it. But I wish people would just have a little bit more mercy and compassion, because everyone hasn't always done everything right. If we literally put a camera in everyone's room right now, I'm pretty sure someone can look around the room and pick out something they don't agree with or they don't like. So, it's just about having compassion and uplifting each other. I'm not saying that you can't talk about the tea, or you can't talk about something that's controversial that's going on with another person, but if someone has come to the internet and they've broken down and they're completely broken at 8 months pregnant, or however many months pregnant she is, I mean, we can afford to let up a little bit. We can, you know, like, she's a human. Even a dog deserves respect. Like, come on, like, humans, animals, everybody deserves some type of respect in some type of way, you know. So that's just my thoughts and opinions on it. I'm sending my thoughts to her. Like I said, I don't watch her enough to kind of just be Team Jasmine, because like I said, I don't watch her enough to know the ins and out. I'm pretty sure she hasn't always done things the appropriate way. I'm pretty sure people are just kind of, wanting to see some progression. And I get that. As far as her significant other, Godney says she suffers. Not only that, she suffers with depression too. Yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying. You got to be careful with that because you don't know. You don't want to be that person, or you don't want to be looked at as the reason why someone went over the edge. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be careful as women how we talk about another woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, or anybody, man, woman, whatever. We just have to be careful how we judge each other. Like, you can have a conversation. You can say, "Look, Jazzy, do this. Hey, try this." But then to be like, "Oh, you stink, you're ugly, you this, you that." Like, all right, come on. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, my advice to her would just to be to keep pushing. Don't feel inclined to jump when everyone says jump about what you should be doing for your children. When it comes to the whole registry thing, like I said, I don't see nothing wrong with it. Some items I feel like are more of the parents' responsibility, like the stroller, car seat, all that good stuff. But I don't see anything wrong with people wanting to support and show love. Because at the end of the day, everybody with a monetized platform or non-monetized platform, we all are able to succeed and get our voice out there because people are showing us love and supporting us. And some people just show their support in different ways. So that's all I thought about that. Like I said, I'm sending my thoughts, but I just really hope she's okay because that was really sad to watch. I know the vast majority of people are like bump her, she a con artist, she trying to dry bag. But I don't think that's what it was. I honestly think that her feelings are hurt, and you know, she's at her lowest point. That's what it looks like. And so at this point, if that was the goal for some people or who pick at her or whatever, that it's pretty much been done. You've achieved. And not accusing anyone of that. Like I said, I'm not, this is no shade to anybody who talks about her because there are several channels. So this is not me pointing anybody out in specifically, but there are several channels that talk about Jasmine like a dog. So I'm not trying to be shady towards anyone who does speak out against Jasmine because people are entitled to their opinion, but let's just take it easy on her. Let's just let sleeping, let's just let sleeping dogs lie, you know and that's just what it is. If someone has come to the internet and they're in tears and they're upset and they're sad and they're crying, regardless of if we agree with every action, regardless if we feel that it's genuine, you don't want to play a part in that person's destruction. I will say that. But that's all I have for you all tonight, honey. I'm thank you all for joining in with me and participating in the chat. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe, and I will continue to watch and we'll talk about whatever you all want to talk about. Like I said, shout out to my new moderator, shout out to Miss Gabrielle. Thank you for helping me out in the chat tonight. And yes, you guys, I'm gonna let y'all go on and enjoy y'all nights. Cuddle up with your beautiful babies or your husband. Finish your dinner, whatever you had planned. And I will see you all on my next video. See you later. Y'all have a good night.